What's up guys, welcome to today's video. Back to some old school fitness content. Today we are addressing the dreaded issue of the skinny fat physique. Now there is numerous causes of skinny fat physique. The most common ones, which from my experience tend to come around, is because first of all, they're not eating enough, usually starving their body, consuming less than 2,000 calories. Secondly, extremely inconsistent with their training. Maybe they have kind of been on and off training a few times per week, but usually they've had a pretty long period of sedentary activity. So, step one, I'm gonna address this issue in a number of steps. Okay, this is just what I would do if I was suffering from the skinny fat syndrome. So first of all, most important thing to do is to optimize the macro split. The majority of people who I ask when they are struggling with this issue, I ask them, how many calories are you consuming? What is your macro split? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm just kind of, having like 3 meals a day, trying to get as much protein in as possible. Translation, they don't have a fucking clue. So first of all, you need to actually understand what is going on with how much food you're eating, what are the split in terms of protein, carbs, fats, and how many calories you're consuming, okay? So let's take, for example, somebody who has been eating 2,000 calories, or maybe even less than that. This is what I would do to start off with. Let's say, for example, 80 kilograms. Most important thing, calculate the protein target. So, around 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Someone who weighs 80 kilograms should be consuming around 176 grams of protein. The fats and the carbs can vary. I wouldn't go lower than 60 grams of fat because that's not good for your body. You need fats, hormone production, etc., normal cell functionality. And then carbs, most people tend to function quite well on carbs. If you try to eliminate the carbs completely, then maybe it works for you, but it's just a headache for you to follow. It just means you have to consume a lot of fat, and maybe even more protein. Okay, so that's step one. Figure it out for yourself. Okay, oh shit. Hey, you do what? Will it hold up? The question is, fuck it out! Ron, can I use your head? Oh! We figured it out, guys. Right, step two. Eat a load of cake. No, step two, this phase, which I would want you to follow over maybe a 5-week period, is to start eating more calories, okay? You're gonna be following a gym routine, nothing crazy. I would say at least 4 resistance training sessions per week. 5 if you can, but 4 is the essential. I think 3 is, it's not gonna be enough, okay? So 4, that's the target. And then what we're gonna do week 1, let me get a friggin' pen out so I can start graffitiing all over this biatch. Week 1, what we're gonna do is start at 2,100 calories, okay? So where would those extra 100 calories come from? I'll tell you where they'll come from. Having more carbs or fats. The protein target does not change, just carbs or fat. Cool, you've done week 1, you've hit all your training sessions, well done, congratulations. And you didn't fuck about on the weekend and eat loads of shit, okay? You've stuck to this number every single day. Week 2, 2,200 calories, okay? Same thing, going to the gym, doing your sessions. It's week 2, so now you can actually maybe lift a little bit more than you did in week 1, and you'll be tracking. Of course you'll be tracking, you'll be using my app, following a 4-day split or 5-day split and tracking everything. Week 3, 2,300 calories. Again, we've had another tremendous week and we did not fuck about on the weekends, binging or doing anything silly. You tracked everything precisely. Okay, week 4, 2,400 calories. We had another tremendous week. And do you know what? You're actually starting to look better. You're feeling better, you've got more energy, you're stronger, you can lift more, and visibly, you'll actually start to notice you'll be looking leaner. Like, what the hell? You're starting to see a bit more definition in the abdominals. Week 5, the last week, 2,500 calories. Awesome, congratulations. You've done 5 weeks of training. You've nailed it every single day, did not mess about. just to tell you what your macros should look like. If you're still 80 kilograms, the protein stays the same, but now you would up your fat intake to around this range, and carbs would be up to around this range. And people always ask me, oh, well, what should I have more carbs? Should I have more fats? That is ultimately up to you and what is your preference. So if you're the type of person that struggles to eat more food, then maybe it would make sense to eat more fats because there's 9 calories in 1 gram of fat. So now we move on to step 3. Now this step is all about increasing your calorie expenditure. Now in step 2, the priority was sorting out your nutrition and just going to the gym. By optimizing your macro split and being consistent with your training, that would be enough to actually see some results and improve body composition. You don't need to go crazy with doing cardio to begin with. However, we're gonna get to a point here where we're gonna stop the calorie increase at 2,500 calories, because if you keep doing it, you are inevitably gonna start gaining quite a bit of weight. But for somebody who is around 80 kilograms, that is a decent amount of food that they should be eating, both to fuel the session, to actually build a bit of muscle mass, and to feel good, recover, optimal hormone production, etc. So, what we're gonna do, week 6, we're gonna add a LISS session. For those who don't know, LISS is low intensity, steady state cardio. Now this can come in a number of different forms, but my favorite is one which you can actually track, which is just going on a treadmill, setting the incline between 10 and 11 and walking, okay? Not touching the handles, keeping the heart rate around 120, 130 beats per minute. This is a form of active recovery. It's not gonna be too strenuous. It's not gonna impact the recovery or performance of your gym sessions. So, you're gonna do one of them. I would aim for 30 to 45 minutes. It can be done separate from your sessions, preferably separate from your sessions, whether you do it first thing in the morning. Luckily, if you maybe have an apartment gym. If not, and you don't want to go to the gym twice in a day, then you can do it after your training session, okay? Just get it done. Week 7, you're gonna add an extra LISS session. Week 8, you're then gonna add another one. So on and so on and so on. You're keeping your calorie intake the same. And of course, on the weekend, you're not fucking about. Okay, so it gets to the point, week 10, 2,500 calories, 5 LISS sessions a week, okay? The most annoying thing about LISS is it's pretty boring, first of all, and it does take quite a bit of time. Other alternative would be to just go outside and go for a very long walk, but to burn the same amount of calories, you're probably gonna have to walk for twice as long or 3 times as long, and then you just can't really be consistent with tracking it. So that's why I prefer to just do it on a treadmill. The body was designed to walk, so you might as well just friggin' walk. Now at this point, I would probably just stay at these numbers for a couple of extra weeks, okay? Because I would imagine at this point, when you're doing that amount of cardio on a weekly basis, your body composition is going to improve. Same thing with your resistance training as well. So keep doing it. It could be 3, 4, 5 weeks up until a point where maybe things have stopped changing. You've reached a plateau. And then once you have reached that plateau, whereby your physique is no longer changing, okay, you feel as though fat loss is no longer occurring, then you have 2 options. The first option is this one. Okay, so this is probably the one which I wouldn't personally go down. This is for people who are just obsessed with wanting to be as lean as they possibly can be, okay? So they're willing to sacrifice a bit of muscle mass just to get lean. Because you're in a situation where you're having 2,500 calories a week, you can actually now take some calories away from that. Beforehand, when you're consuming 2,000 calories, you don't want to be eating less than that and going from 2,000 to 1,500. Life is going to suck and you're going to look terrible. But at least from 2,500, dropping it down to 2,000 calories, you can actually still maintain some sort of, enjoyable life and still be able to lift some weight at the gym, okay? So let's assume that you were staying at this week 10.5 weeks. Week 15, you're going to drop to 2,400 calories. You're going to keep doing the LISS sessions 5 a week. Then after that, you're going to go down to 2,300 and so on, 2,200, 2,100. You might not even need to drop it each week. So say, for example, if you're at 2,300, you did it for a week, you made progress, and you stayed at 2,300 for another week, you still made progress and still lost fat, then that's fine. You basically just need to make adjustments when your body has reached that plateau, the state of homeostasis, and then you need to make adjustments to see further progress, okay? So then you would diet down again, restrict your calories to the point where you're back down to 2,000 calories again. And then you could stay there for a little bit. I wouldn't stay there for too long. And hopefully at this point, your body composition has improved drastically and your body fat has reduced drastically. But I wouldn't stay there for too long, because at this point, you're just going to really struggle to maintain, or building muscle is just not gonna happen, but maintaining muscle is gonna be also very difficult at this point. So that's one option. And then I would reverse it, go all the way back up, and then taper off the cardio. That's option one. Option two. Mario. Mate, my Mario Kart Don. This is what I would suggest most people do, and this is the gradual bulk, okay? You're not gonna put on a huge amount of muscle in a short period of time. So your priority should be, instead of being absolutely shredded, let's focus for the remainder of the year of actually putting on a decent bit of size and really building up the metabolism. So this is the gradual bulk. You've stuck at 2,500 calories for a while, doing the list. Now we're gonna make some adjustments. Okay, we're gonna up it ever so slightly, 2,550 calories, and we're gonna pull away from doing 5 lists, you're gonna do 4 lists. Okay, the next week, we're just gonna add an extra 50 calories. Pull down, or pull out Game Strong, pull out of another extra list session. And as you can see, we're just very gradually making the changes. I think you have to be more gradual with making changes when bulking, because it's very easy for you to gain too much weight too quickly. You know, you're not going to put all of that weight gained on purely from muscle. A lot of it will be fat. Your body's very good at storing body fat, so you have to be careful. Many people, when they do a bulk, they think, right, it's time for me to just get away with eating as many calories as possible. And guess what? They put on, you know, a little bit of muscle, but they put on a lot of fat, and now you've got the ball ache of trying to remove all of that fat. So again, we have to be quite strict with tracking. We have to be careful on the weekends with not overeating, okay? When we get to, you know, it could be week 20, it could be week 25, you very gradually build up your calorie intake to 3,000, okay? I want you to be very careful how you do it. The goal should be to add no more than 0.1 to 0.2 kilograms per week. If you're adding more than that, then I would slow down how quickly that you are increasing the calorie intake. But eventually, like with the cut, your body will adjust itself. There'll be a moment of homeostasis where everything stays the same. Okay, so you just need to add a little bit. And that's also what I've done with the cardio. I'm taking it a little, I still want you to do it, but I don't want you to do quite as much, because realistically doing 5 list sessions per week is, most people don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. It's boring and it takes up a lot of time. And to be honest, if the goal is to actually grow a little bit, you want to pull away from doing that much cardiovascular activity, because it could interfere with you actually building and maintaining more muscle mass. But it's still good for your heart, for, I won't necessarily say it's amazing for endurance, but it's just good to walk, to move, and to actually still burn some calories. So a couple of points which I want to finish on. Okay, this is just theory. It's not you should follow this approach exactly and follow those numbers. Okay, so it's completely dependent upon how much you weigh, your lifestyle, how many times you're gonna train, and how quickly your body adapts. Sometimes you can't just make those quick steps. You know, you might need to drag it out a little bit longer to ensure that you don't gain too much weight or lose too much. So these are a couple of things which are going to determine your rate of progress. Of course, first thing is the training consistency. You just can't do this for like 4 to 8 weeks and then after 8 weeks just give up and then just stop training or do 1 session a week. This is a new lifestyle which you are going to have to start living, okay? Going to the gym, resistance training, it's now a part of your life, okay? Get used to it. It's the only way this is gonna work. If you stop the training, you will forever be skinny fat, okay? Doesn't matter if maybe you have a week where you miss 2 sessions. As long as those weeks don't happen often, the majority of the time, you get the training done that needs to be done. Second is nutrition consistency. This is where most people fail. Okay, there's those people who might be super motivated and stick at it for a couple of weeks and then the motivation goes or something happens which knocks them off track and then they have a couple of really bad days. And those really bad days can set you back quite a bit depending upon how badly you ate and how excessive the surplus was. And the same thing goes for those people who are weekend eaters, and I certainly was and sometimes am that individual. Okay, you can be in that deficit throughout the week, make the progress that you need to make, but whatever happens, maybe it's a Saturday, maybe it's a Sunday, maybe it's both days, you just completely disregard the tracking, what it is you're eating, and you overconsume, and you actually undo all the hard work that you've done in that week. So you need to figure out a way of making sure that the weekends also kind of follow the same approach that you follow during the week. Okay. Next one is the starting point. So if you are somebody who is, really skinny fat, so somebody who really has not a lot of muscle mass at all and is actually carrying quite a lot of body fat, this process is going to take a lot longer period of time just because you have so much fat to get rid of. So don't just think that this is something that's going to happen immediately and within a couple of months you're going to look super jacked and shredded. This is a long process, so you have to be patient. If you are patient and you're consistent with training and nutrition, then you are going to get the results. As I mentioned before, eating out, the binging, we need to just try and eliminate that as much as possible. I think that eating out is the most difficult thing because you can no longer really track and try and guess what it is that you've been consuming in terms of the calories, carbs, fats, proteins, but most of the time you'll most likely be off and you'll probably underestimate how much you ate. And then at the end of the day, you don't really know where you're at. And when you don't know where you're at, you kind of more incentivized to just eat more because it's like, well, we've had an off day, we'll start again tomorrow. So it's a difficult one, especially if you're the type of person that goes out a lot and eats out a lot, business meetings, things like that. I try to cut it out as much as possible and just consume foods where I know, I'm not preparing foods anymore, but I get takeaways and I know exactly the macro breakdown of every single meal which I'm consuming. So I'm realistically tracking 5 out of 7 days a week. But the closer you get to being in the body composition that you want to have, you can be a little bit more flexible. The hardest part is just getting to that point. So you have to be more strict and you have to be extremely consistent. And then once you get to that point, you can be more flexible with eating out and doing whatever it is that you want to do. And then the final point is how successful you are at going through these phases of bulking and cutting and maintenance periods. Now, I haven't really touched on that. Why is that? It's because I'm going to do it in another video. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. If you want me to, leave a comment below and tell me you want to know more from Mikey T about the cycling of how to go through periods of bulking, cutting and maintenance phases. But if you do that properly, it's going to make everything a whole lot easier. And you'll be at the point where your body fat is low, you're consuming a lot of calories just to maintain the weight you're at, you've got a lot of muscle mass and you're looking pretty goddamn good. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Try to make it as simple as possible. Don't overcomplicate it. Of course, just stick to the basics and buy my friggin' app. Get signed up, okay? It's literally the best app in the game if you want to be following the best programs that you could possibly be following. I'm following the reverse pyramid, push-pull legs, and my strength has gone through the roof. I'm enjoying it a lot. So if you want to check it out for yourself, thirstapp.com, get involved, and I'll see you in the next video.